Scott Brown here. This is a Makita Maktrak system, a system that I have been using for the past couple of months. Is it just a bunch of expensive plastic toolboxes? Or is this the ultimate answer to the age-old carpenter question, how do you get your tools from A to B? How do you get your tools from home to your work site efficiently, comfortably? In the past couple of months, I've pushed these things to the limit. I've taken them up a mountain surrounded by snow, and the only way to get them up there was via a helicopter. I've taken them to regular building sites. I've taken them in and out of my van, and I'll talk about how that works or doesn't work. And because I've used the Milwaukee Packout system, the Tanos Systainer system, I'm able to compare this to all of that. And that's what we're going to do in this exciting episode. We're going to find out, will the Makita Maktrak system make your life easier? Whoa. Oh my god. Now before we discuss my honest first impressions of this toolbox and just how I feel about it in general, in the spirit of honesty, you should know that I got this for free. I got this whole Makita Maktrak system without spending any money because Makita New Zealand gave it to me, in the knowledge that it would end up in a video and then they get promotion. It won't have an effect on things I say, but now you know. Damn, that's crazy. So every box has this. It has the clip at the top there, so things can clip into it, and the clips at the bottom, and then they all interlock. And there's a little lever there where you can do that. You lift it up, and you can accompany the handle with that. And my first impression when I saw that handle was how comically large it is. It's even more obvious on this one here. Look at that, humongous handle, and the clips as well. The clips are just gigantic, which is a really good thing. It means that when you're wearing gloves like this, you can still get your hand into the handle there, and the clips are quite convincing at putting the lid down. And then when you open to look inside the boxes, you can see that it isn't just a blank box. You've got little slots here where this divider can be placed. You have hooks here for the various plastic trays that they make. And you can see how the lid stays up with this little wire here. They also have a solid wire that can hold it up as well, and I think it comes with it. And to give you an idea of what they sent me when they sent me the kit, they sent me all of these boxes. Tons of boxes and trays, jars, that all interlock with the system. Now, let's rewind time a little bit and show how many tools you can fit inside this system. Alright, let's load this up.
Oh my god, it's on wheels!
Yeah. Alright. Let's see what we can get in this bottom one. Alright, so that's what you can fit in the bottom box. Large router, small circular saw, jigsaw, stapler, track saw, finishing gun, framing gun, sander, and my battery charger. How many? 4 or 5 batteries? String lines even in there. Little tray that goes on top. And then I've got my tool belt and I've got my drills under there. 1/2-inch router, 1/4-inch I should say, and the planer. A decent amount in there, and I still think we can fill this up. I've got all my tools in these 3 boxes. Just finished loading up this one. That's all the tools. On the channel here, we recently went up a mountain and helped finish off a backcountry hut. And when I say went up a mountain, we went to one of the tops of the main divide of the South Island here in New Zealand. So pretty extreme conditions. And because we were building the hut, we couldn't actually stay inside it. We had to stay in tents. And tents aren't big enough for all our tools, so all the tools had to stay outside in our toolboxes. I needed something solid, something robust, because it was going to be hanging off the bottom of the helicopter, and something that could handle those outdoor conditions and still hold all my tools. And the Maktrak system, it held up. It did pretty good. I mean, this is the ultimate test, right? Taking the Makita boxes up to the mountain. I mean, we were rolling it around and dropping it, and the helicopter was, you know, it lowered it down gently, but it was dropping it, and things were piled up on top of each other. And we're up a mountain, so nothing was level. Everything was sort of rolling hills and rocks. And because of how high up we were, a frost would form on our toolboxes at like 8 p.m. You know, like, didn't even get dark, and it was already cold and wet. And one night I had the lid down on my toolbox, but I forgot to clip it shut. It wasn't closed properly, The lid was down, but the clamps weren't down. Now I've got wet tools. All the metal stuff has collected condensation. Oh, the router even. So it wasn't even rain that got water on my tools there, it was condensation. All these boxes come with this foam kind of seal all the way around the perimeter here, but in order for the foam seal to actually seal, this needs to be clamped, like so. In the case of the mountain there, just having the air gap was enough for all the metal things in my toolbox to get wet. Always clamp it shut. Okay, let's be real. Not many people are going to be taking this up a mountain. Most people are getting a system like this so they can get their tools from their garage, workshop, storage area into their vehicle and into the job. So how good is the Makita Maktrak at doing that? Well, the whole system is based on this bottom roller here. So this handle can come out and drop down, but it can't be locked. So when you tip it like this, that naturally just comes out. But if you wanted to do it like this, it doesn't let you keep it there, it just keeps sliding. Now, long before the Maktrak and even before the Packout system existed, I did this van fit out and I designed it for the Systainer system by Tanos. The one that Festool uses, the one that up until now Makita used, the one that Hikoki used. We'll talk more about it soon, but I bring that up now because my van is not designed for the Maktrak. Now all you have to do is look at their advertising to realize this wasn't designed for vans. I could readjust my van and make the Maktrak fit better, but this was actually designed to go into the back of trucks. So I decided to get a truck. Oh, hi. Let's go around here. No, it's not mine. I wish. We know that this isn't designed for vans like mine. It's more designed for trucks, like this. It's got this system here where the rail comes right out and there's kind of rubber feet on the bottom of the rail. Now this isn't my truck, like I said, so I have to be very careful here. And then you're meant to just lift it up and slide it in like this. Like that. Now that's empty. That has 0 tools in it. And that was very, very manageable. The other thing is I think they had utes in mind, utes without canopies. So perhaps you're meant to just use the bottom unit here, just this one toolbox with the wheels, get that up there, and then you go around the side and perhaps you can clip on the subsequent boxes. Maybe. But that's basically how it works. And then when you want to get it out, you very carefully tip it, like so. Oh. Not a scratch. And then you go to site. So as you can see in that shot, the extended rail here is so you can go like this onto the back of your truck, but it doesn't work on every truck. So my friend Daniel's truck there that I just used has a bumper and a tow bar and everything in the way, whereas I think Makita have designed it to go up onto the tailgate of a pickup truck. And that tailgate extends over your bumper and your tow bar. So just a small detail there, I don't think it's designed to go into every single truck. But you could probably make it work. Before we compare the Maktrak to the other systems I've used, let's talk about the pros and cons of the Maktrak. Things I like, things I don't like. What I like about the system, it feels very robust. It feels strong. It tumbled down mountains, it was out in the rain, it dropped onto concrete stairs. Nothing's broken so far. It's only been a couple of months, but it feels solid. I love the big handles and the big latches, these exaggerated latches. Another thing that I like about this system, on these bigger boxes, you take the latches off all sides, and the lid comes right off. And those wires there are removable, so you can just remove the lid completely. Another thing I like, the interlocking system. This is becoming standard with toolboxes, but the ability to interlock everything and take it all into work as one unit is fantastic. Now, one thing that I really appreciated about this system when I was taken to work over the last couple of months, it cut down all my trips to the van. In the morning, I would take the box out of the van, wheel it into the site, and then once I laid everything out there, I didn't have to go back to the van at all. And another pro is the capacity. How many tools you can fit in a box like this. I mean, you could probably get everything you need in a day's work in these two boxes here. Maybe even just the bottom box if you're not doing too many jobs in one day. That's great, that's fantastic. Now, of course, there are always cons in any system. Here are the things I don't like. The weight, it's so heavy. And when you load it up with tools, it is beyond heavy. That is so heavy. And that is the reason I didn't really use a lot of Milwaukee Packout when I was doing renovations, and I preferred the Systainer system. Now, another thing that I don't like is because the boxes are so big capacity-wise, they can fit a lot of tools, that encourages you to jam a lot of tools in there. And I think that your tools will have a shorter life because of it. I found myself just piling tool on top of tool, and then when you want to get a drill that happens to be under 3 other tools, you're lifting it up and things are dropping and rubbing, and the lifespan of your tool is going to be less. And then if you need to go to the van just for 1 or 2 tools, and you have like 20 tools in these 2 boxes, I'd have to pull all those boxes out, open the lid, and then rummage for the tools. So it doesn't seem to be designed for people who only need to grab a couple of tools at a time from a van. And the other con, which is more of a personal thing for me, it's designed for trucks, not a van like mine. So if I wanted to switch over to this permanently, I'd have to do my van fit out all over again. Alright, let's compare it to the Milwaukee Packout. Let's be honest, the Maktrak, they copied the Milwaukee Packout. It's the same in almost every way. The boxes are even shaped similar, the lids and the latches are very, very similar. Milwaukee obviously have a pattern on how the boxes interlock with one another, because Makita have done a very similar one but not the same. They even have the waterproof rubber ring around the lid in the same way. But the one difference between the Milwaukee and the Maktrak is that Milwaukee are many years ahead of Makita. So Makita have made many similar boxes to the Packout, but they've got a lot of catching up to do. They have a Packout first aid kit. They've even made battery holders. They've got a lunch bag. And they even have a rolling tool chest that is remarkably like the Makita Maktrak. And many other accessories that we just don't have enough time to mention. And then on top of that, they have a system based around these plastic boards here that go on the wall. So you can store your Packout boxes like this. As easy as that. This is a well thought out wall system and very, very extensive. There's so many accessories. And because Packout has been out for a while, many other people are making accessories that are compatible with it. Makita haven't made anything like that yet. And this might not bother you. Maybe you just need a few toolboxes and the Makita ones that they've made so far are enough. But if you want a full system, Milwaukee are years ahead. And on top of that, when I was up that mountain, all the other builders had the Milwaukee Packout. And it performed in the exact same way. This rubber seal on the lid sealed all the boxes, everybody left their tools out in the mountain conditions, and all the tools were fine. So it's just as durable. Now with the system that I've designed my van around, I think I have the best of both worlds. Admittedly, I did this van fit out before Milwaukee Packout and long before Maktrak. I went straight to the Tanos Systainer system. That's the system Festool use. Hikoki, Makita up until now have used that. And like Packout, because it's been around for a long time, there are many accessories, infinite accessories. As well as the normal sizes, they have extra large boxes so you can get those bigger tools in there. And they even have little tiny boxes like this that still function in the same way. This one holds business cards. Okay, so much like the others, it interlocks and it's made up of different kinds of boxes. This is like a nice open box, foldable handle. Once it's all locked together, you can still get to things like this. And this box here illustrates what I really like about this system. There is a place for everything. It's not just a whole bunch of tools jumbled on top of one another. And the boxes are minimal. They're lightweight. You know, that box compared to a Packout box or a Maktrak box weighs nothing. And they even have the drawers like this. They've got the screw compartments like Maktrak and Packout. And on the latest ones, the Systainer 3s, they even have a system that goes into interlocking rails, so you can turn these into drawers inside your van or inside your workshop. Now, they have a bit of a bad reputation for durability though.
That they don't crack, because Festool, lovely brand, but the boxes are so flimsy that they break too quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. They can't really handle being thrown around.
But who would throw around Festool anyway? You know, you need gloves on. And
This is also Tanos. All of these are Tanos. But the Makita ones, they've used like a cheaper plastic. And they've got these awful latches here that, I mean, I've had these ones for like 5 years and they're still hard to open. It makes an awful sound. They've gone with the older generation of Systainer systems that didn't have the swivel handle. Oh. And they break really easy. I think they're cheaper plastic. Whereas when Makita first used this system, they used a much more robust plastic. The same not so good latches, but they didn't break as easily as these ones. And I think Hikoki still use that better plastic because this is their brand new nail gun. And the box is nice and solid. But this nail gun illustrates part of the problem with the system. That whole box only carries this. Maybe a charger, maybe a battery, but not much else. So you end up with a tower like this for your tools. And I can't imagine wheeling this tower into a job site, up concrete stairs, up driveways. That's the failure of the system. So in that regard, they weren't really thinking outside the box, like Packout. If you want to think outside the box for your website, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform where you can build your online presence and run your business. Squarespace is a great website builder. It makes it very easy. You don't need to know how to do coding because it's all drag and drop functionality. The text, the images, drag and drop it in place and get your website looking just right. And that's after you've chosen a template to suit your business. And they have thousands of templates to choose from, so you're bound to find one. Whether your business is selling services or selling products, Squarespace will have you sorted. If you're selling services, you can invoice your clients straight from the website. And if you're selling products, they have e-commerce functionality built into the website. You don't have to figure it all out. Not to mention their multiple payment systems that they allow on the website. And they even have AI built into the website now. You just put a bit of information about your business, it drums up a website for you. And then you can just tweak it at the end to make it just right. It's a great website builder and you can try it out for free. So there's nothing to lose. And then once you're happy with your website, head over to squarespace.com/Scott Brown Carpentry and you can save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks to Squarespace. Now the final point that I want to make about the Tanos Systainer system, on top of durability, is waterproofing. Up on that mountain, this wouldn't have worked. That's why I didn't even consider it. All my tools would have got wrecked in the rain. It's not really designed for that.
From my perspective, it seems like the Festool ones, or Tanos, is that what you say?
Yeah.
Is more for the joiner woodworker.
Yeah.
Whereas the Makita is for the builder.
Yeah.
Like someone who's going to a job like Ray's place or up the mountain where it's a rough, at least in the beginning.
Well, yeah, if you're on a building site where there's just mud everywhere and you're in a truck and you're throwing your boxes around, listen to that. They won't really last.
So what you're saying is this is for the builder who's starting the job. This is for the carpenter who's finishing the job. But it's you, so you have to have all of it.
Well said, Jess. I've got that on camera now, you can't take it back.
Fortunately, you've got at least, 70% of it for free? Otherwise, this would not stand. Pick one.
So what system is right for you? Well, I think any organization system is going to help, and what's right for you is up to you. Maybe you're working in a mountain and you need that waterproofing. Well, you're not going to go for the Systainer system, but the Systainer system has other benefits, like I highlighted. But it's really up to you. Maybe you've got a custom system. Maybe you use one of the other tool brands because there are many organization systems nowadays. These are just the ones that I've got experience with, so that's what I talked about in this exciting episode. But the question that I started with, does the Makita Maktrak make your life easier? I think the answer is yes. I can get all my tools that I need in a day's work into the building site, and then I don't have to walk back to the van. That makes my life easier. So I want to hear from you now. I've been talking for the last 15-20 minutes. It's your turn. What system do you use? What do you prefer? Have you built your own system? Have you built your own van fit out, quite like mine? Here are some of the videos that might be of interest to you. I'll make a couple of random ones. I'll let YouTube decide what this one is. Thanks for watching.